I'm going to need everybody to stop panicking. Yes, the owner of the Texas Renaissance Festival was ordered by a Grimes County judge that he had to complete the sale that he started and then backed out of. Apparently, King George entered into the beginning of a sale process for the company and property of the Texas Renaissance Festival, but he backed out. And a judge in Grimes County, where Todd Mission is located, has ordered that that sale must contractually go forth as all of the promised monies were deposited into escrow and the sale had backed out at the very last moment. It has since been published in multiple mainstream news articles that the people that bought the Texas Renaissance Festival are not going to shut it down. They're not going to take the land and do a development. The family works at the Renaissance Festival. They love the Renaissance Festival. They don't want to change the Renaissance Festival. Texas Renaissance Festival will continue to happen. But wait, take another deep breath, because there's more. The campgrounds are under new management this year, and there have been some policies that have put into place that have people freaking out. Now, in the past, we have referred to the social groups in the campgrounds as clans. That is no longer the term that is being used. They are now being called guilds, so that is what I will be using moving forward. Some prefer to call themselves crews, and that's fine. I'm going to be using the word guild because that is the word that is on the Texas Renaissance Festival webpage. The guilds are groups of like-minded people that come together and do like a semi-permanent settlement in the campgrounds for the season. They are required to have the Diamond Season Pass, and members of the guild donate the space that they are purchasing for their season's camp to the guild, and then the guild can use all of that space. There's been a lot of discussion on a particular Book of Faces group about how the new rule about space allotment is going to kill the guilds. That stems from the policy that a Diamond Pass member can donate their space allotment to their guild as a communal space. That space allotment is 525 square feet, and that is supposed to include your transportation and your camping and all of that. If you've been to Texas Renaissance Festival and you've seen some of the things that the guilds put on, you know that this is not nearly enough room. A lot of people point to amped up shanties and the dance floor that they ring off for safety and security and point to that it's going to cost $10,000 to buy communal plots for that much space. These crews and guilds who put on this entertainment do so out of their own pocket. They're not getting money from the campgrounds or Texas Renaissance Festival. Amped Up Shanties spends $2,500 to $3,000 per week on the favors that they hand out, and that is above and beyond the costs of the equipment that they have to set up and then tear down and store every weekend. It's a lot of work that goes into it, and a lot of people are very afraid that the cost of the extra space is going to mean that these people cannot afford to do this anymore. People are worried that this is going to affect the entertainment that some of these guilds put on, which is then going to affect the experience of the campground and eventually result in a decreased attendance, which is going to have a result on the experience of the fair as a whole, not just the campground experience. Now, not only have I read all of the information that is publicly available, I got the opportunity to hop on a call with Robert, the head of the Amped Up Shanties Guild. They're the ones who throw the silent disco. If you haven't seen that, you can look it up in this video. Robert told me that Amped Up Shanties has been classified as an entertainment venue and that there are exceptions that are being made for guilds that put on entertainment for the masses, such as Amped Up Shanties, Call of Booty, Ember Island, the groups of people that specifically cater to not just their own guild, but to the campgrounds as a whole. They are being handled on an individual basis by the management. There's a sentence on the website that says, all public entertainment must be approved by the TRF Entertainment Department. Violators will be disbanded without notice. Please reach out to camping@texrenfest.com for further information. The management, for safety and security reasons, has to stay on top of what's going on their land. They require these guilds that are classified as entertainment venues to have insurance. And there are contracts that need to be signed. There are negotiations that go back and forth. It is a process. And at this juncture, everybody just needs to take a deep breath and let the process happen. There's a whole lot of paperwork and legal stuff that is part and parcel of doing big entertainment at the campground. It's not like people just go in and take over $10,000 worth of space to throw a dance party without letting the management know. There are negotiations, there are talks. The general sense from the top leadership that I have spoken to is not negative. It's hopeful. Robert told me that when he contacted the management for the campground, their response was very positive and welcoming. I just want to caution everybody to take a deep breath and understand that unless you are in a position of guild leadership, you worrying about this problem is going to be fruitless. If you are in the upper echelons of guild leadership and you have opinions that you want to share, that's one thing. But for a person who is not even a season pass holder to be spouting conjecture on the topic and having anxiety about how it's going to affect their experience, it's not going to improve anything for anybody. What I would urge everyone to do if you're part of one of these discussion groups is to talk positively about the entertainment that you have experienced in the past. If, for example, you have enjoyed Amped Up Shanty's Silent Disco, you should be as vocal as possible about how much you enjoyed it, instead of being negative about how you fear it might not come to pass. My advice is to approach your comments from a place of gratitude rather than a place of fear. If you talk positively about your experiences that you've had, that is going to be a lot more helpful to the guild leadership when they are in their negotiations. They can point to your comments and they can say, hey, look at the positive impact we have had. We have brought these people together as a community. We have contributed to long distance travelers coming in specifically for the fair and campground experience. If you have friends who come in out of town to go to the fair and the campgrounds, maybe talk about that. Talk about the outreach that guilds such as Jolly Rogers do when, they, out of the goodness of their hearts and their pockets, they feed people on the campground who need feeding, right? People need to be taken care of, and they do this service for the campground. At this time, those people need your support. They need you to say, we love this. We like this to stay. We feel that this is an integral part of the experience. That's going to be way more helpful than fear-mongering and thinking of worst case scenarios. I know anxiety is ever present, and it's really, really easy to just think of all the negative things that could happen. But really and truly, if you are perpetuating the anxiety about the situation, you're being part of the problem, not part of the solution. And there's nothing wrong with venting about your fears or your worries, but maybe don't do it in a big public place where it will fan other people's fears and anxieties. And instead try to ask, what can we do to help? No one is expecting you to become a diamond season pass holder and donate your 525 square feet to a guild that you don't belong to. No one is expecting that. No one is asking that. But if you don't belong to one of these guilds, it's also not your place to be speaking for them. It's not your place to be worrying about what they do. I highly doubt that the Texas Renaissance Festival campground management is going to try and kick Call of Booty out when Call of Booty is the reason that the city of Todd Mission has a fire truck. Yes, some smaller guilds are just about throwing a little private party, but the bulk of the guilds that are on the larger side do some sort of community outreach, whether it is throwing a campground-wide silent disco or being an open donation-based kitchen that feeds people who need to be fed, or raising funds to buy a fire truck for the city that services the Renaissance Festival. A lot of these guilds are about coming together and being a community. And the essence of that is not going to change. I'm sure that there are some kinks that are going to need to be ironed out, but right now all we can really do is wait and see and not borrow trouble. So please take a deep breath. No one's going to take your campground experience away. It's going to be okay. Go drink some water. Take a nap. Eat something. And then say something positive. Give these guilds something to point to in their negotiations that gives them more ground to stand on. And that's all I have to say about that. Please leave a comment telling me your most memorable experience at Texas Renaissance Festival, be it the Renaissance Festival itself or the campgrounds. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you can be notified of all my uploads. I'm going to be out at Texas Renaissance Festival for All Hallows weekend. Look for me. I will have trinkets to pass out. I will be showing up to various parties to say hi to all the friends that I made last year. I look forward to seeing you there. Please take care of my friends and do your best to craft a life worth living. I promise that I'm doing my very level best to take care of yours.